Hello, everybody. I'm joined this week by the Mr. Rhabdo himself, John Cannon. So if you don't know, some of our PMers might not know John Cannon. He's been a member here for 4+ years. So during Murph, John pushed himself to a pretty extraordinary level, and about 36 hours later checked into St. John's for something called a rhabdo, which all the coaches talk with clients about at the very beginning, and it's something that happens very infrequently in CrossFit, but especially here at the gym. So Kenny, you just got out of the hospital, and will you just kind of break down briefly what happened?
Yeah, so basically what happened was I checked into the hospital on Tuesday night.
After doing
Murph on June 1st, and it was because throughout the day on June 1st, I just progressively got more and more sore. My arms decided to just come up, and I couldn't really bend them. Yeah. And you know, the one thing I was really looking out for was my urine, to make sure, you know, it was maintaining clear. But Tuesday night, you know, lo and behold, the telltale sign, it came out looking Coke brown, you know, like a bottle of Coke. And so within 15 minutes, I checked myself into St. John's in the ER, and they had me hooked up to an IV drip, and I was hooked up to that IV for, you know, almost 8 days.
So John spent 8 days in the hospital, and it was primarily an upper body thing, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So after John talked with his doctor and me extensively, we were trying to figure out like what was the causation. And there's very few things that we can sort of pinpoint, but it is something that, you know, we need to sort of, as a community, learn from. So, like, our first priority is just making sure that you're healthy and out, and, you know, when you're able, come back and join us. My suspicion is that will be cautious at first, if not for a long time.
Definitely.
Rightfully so. We're going to do a little bit more education later this week on what exactly rhabdo is, but basically it's a breakdown of muscle tissue and it becomes toxic to the body. So that's why John's urine became Coca-Cola color, and that's why he started to get the velociraptor/pterodactyl arms the next day, which is not something uncommon or very similar to a lot of people's experience, but that's just DOMS, and there's a big difference between delayed onset muscle soreness and rhabdo. And again, we're going to do a little bit more education about this in the coming week or so. But I think the immediate lesson is that it's something that we always have to sort of understand, that what we do by its inherent nature is of risk. Now, we always program, especially our practice days, volumes and intensities so that it's not rhabdo inducing. On our competition and mental toughness days, we will see volumes that we don't prescribe in the regular sort of ways that we do in our practice days. And even though it's extremely unlikely, there are extraordinary cases like Cannon's where somebody can contract rhabdo. So the only thing that we've sort of spotted and sorted out is that during Murph, you had a PR of 30 pull-ups prior to doing Murph, and you came in and your first set was how many?
It was about, I think it was 40.
Yeah,
somewhere around that.
Yeah. So and that's you know, when you're feeling inspired on a day like Murph, and who wasn't inspired after, you know, watching Mark Samos's speech? I mean, we're all like really fired up, and so it's one thing to be mentally tough, and rhabdo is. People who are mentally tough are going to be the most predisposed. That's pretty much across the board, whether you're fit or not fit. If you've got the ability to go with tenacity, high rep, high volume is typically going to be the type of thing that leaves you exposed. And I think the only lesson that's applicable is when you're doing a workout that has 100 pull-ups and 200 push-ups, maybe not always the best idea, or a lesson learned, to not PR by 33% out the gate. But again, I told John this when I went to visit him in the hospital. If he had done this workout the exact way 9 more times, he might not have gotten rhabdo. It could have been some dehydration, a couple things in his blood chemistry that altered his body's response on that given day. Again, the variables are innumerable, and it's hard to calculate exactly why. John's an extraordinarily fit person and somebody who always listens to his body, but nonetheless, a very valued person here, and fortunately, this is something that we can learn from.
Correct.
And John, I'm glad that you're okay, because Rhabdo is really scary and it's real. When he checked in, the people at the hospital, they weren't really believed, because you walked in and said, I have Rhabdo, and they looked at you and went,
I said, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You probably think you do. You probably just, are really sore. But as soon as I took that urine test, the second one, and it came back, almost cherry Coke flavored, that's when they immediately hooked me up to the IV and, sent my blood to get labs done. And, my CK levels came back high. My liver enzymes came back high, and luckily my kidneys were functioning good at that point. But it was definitely a scary thing.
Scary moment. So, Cannon is out of the hospital. He will be back sooner than later, but we're gonna hold him by the hand for a little bit as we might need to. And again, a little bit more education is coming your way. You don't want to be operating out of fear, but you do want to be operating out of mindfulness, and that's how we approach this stuff. What we do is very hard, and there is risk involved. And we at times go very hard, and mental toughness is part of our character here. And those are things that we're not going to step away from. However, increased awareness and mindfulness always have their place when being mentally tough. Let me switch gears really quick, because this video is going long. And yes, very long. If you're still with us, congratulations. This is a 7-minute video. Today we've got the beep test. It's a VO2 conditioning test used all over the world for athletes from collegiate level to professional level, soccer players, lacrosse players, rugby players. Tuesday, the strength drill is the biggest priority. That's the front squat, back squat drill. On Wednesday, the split jerk is coming up, and the intent with the jerk portion of the clean and jerk is aggressiveness. With the cleans, it's patient. So working on that mindset of aggressiveness when jerking. Thursday, cycle speed on your snatches. That is the most important thing, because we're going to be retesting your cycle speed in about 7 or 8 weeks. Lastly, we have a lot of wall walks coming your way for a very fun-ish mental toughness workout. Thanks, Cannon, for surviving. And thank you guys for spending these moments with us and welcoming John back to his gym home. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Cannon, love you. I'm very glad you're okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Boom.